This is Coach Lee, and I'm going to share with you 5 things you must do to get your ex back. The first thing is one of the most difficult to resist, and that is to try to fix what they broke. And so what you must do is actually just leave it in pieces. And what I mean by that is that when they first tell you that they want to break up, or if this is an ongoing thing where they're not sure and they're kind of stringing you on for a few days, and then they tell you, then that's where you would give some pushback. It's good to plant a seed in their mind, to at least give them something to start the process of them thinking that this could work out, that you two could get back together, that you two could be right for each other. That's especially good for days of doubt when they're doubting the breakup and they need to remember that you thought the two of you were good for each other. So there's nothing wrong with giving a little pushback. As a matter of fact, it's a good thing, but you must stop after you've made it clear. So once you have accepted what they've said, you can say something like, I understand, and I don't want to be with anybody who doesn't want to be with me, but I disagree because I think we're great together. You can say something like that, and you should, and that's a good thing to do. But then you must stop. You shouldn't try to fix everything. You shouldn't try to make the relationship work even though you two are broken up. You shouldn't be trying to get them back. You should just leave their mess. Because if you do things that show that you're trying to put it back together, you're trying to fix it, you're trying to get them back, you're trying to overcome the breakup and overcome their objections to a relationship with you, then what you're doing, not only are you solidifying yourself in backup plan mode so that they never have to worry that they couldn't get you back, which means there's no pressure, there's no potential of some reigniting of limerence. It's just, if they ever want you, they can get you back. And so it's no big deal to them. There's no fear of losing you. And what it also does is it enables them to break up with you again if you two do get back together, because they figure you'll just do all the work to fix it. You'll kiss up to them. You'll reward them for breaking up with you by boosting their ego and making them feel uber sexy because you're telling them how wonderful they are and how much you miss them and how you want to be with them, and making them feel like they are just the greatest thing since sliced bread. And if anything, it's encouraging them to do the breakup again. I've heard what I consider to be horror stories where people were dumped and then they started doing all these wonderful things for the other person. Like they booked them a massage, bought them flowers, had donuts delivered for breakfast, just all these things that it almost was like a reward for this person dumping them. And I said, stop. Leave the relationship in shambles. Your ex has been the bull in the china shop, and you are going to walk out with all the glass all over the floor. And that might seem counterintuitive. And if you two were in a relationship and your ex wanted to work on it, I wouldn't say that at all. I would say you do your part, you work hard, you show them love and commitment. So it's not that I don't believe in working on relationships at all. I believe in working hard to keep love alive and grow love and reignite love. But when the other person leaves, that's when you have to do the opposite, because there is no relationship. This person has pulled out of the relationship. They have dismissed you. They've broken up with you. They've broken the relationship, and you must leave it in pieces if you want your ex back, because they can't feel loss. They can't feel that the relationship might have been good and now they couldn't get you back, or they don't know if they could. They can't feel any of that if you don't leave it in pieces. Number 2 of things you must do to get your ex back. Use the no contact rule. If you've seen my other videos, you've heard me talk about it. But hear this. No contact is life support for your hopes of getting your ex back. And here's why. If your ex doesn't experience a real breakup, then there's no reason for them to want to undo the breakup and get back together with you. So if you're communicating with your ex, if you're reaching out, if you're letting them know how your day's going, which actually continues some of the intimacy that you have with them, if you are doing things that basically give them an easy breakup, then there's no reason for them to want to fix anything. There's no reason for them to want to change anything. We don't change things unless it hurts enough. I'll tell you a quick story. This is an old tale from the southern United States, but a man walked up to visit an old friend, went up on his porch, and there was a dog laying on the porch, and the dog was just kind of moaning. And the guy walked out and said, "Welcome, good to see you." And he said, "Good to see you, but what's wrong with your dog?" And he said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, the dog's just laying there moaning." And he said, "Oh, He's laying on a nail. And the guy said, well, why doesn't he get off the nail? And the other guy said, it doesn't hurt enough. And yes, I'm aware that I compare your ex to a dog a lot in my videos. Some of you might like that, but it's simply to give stories that help you understand what's going on. And in this case, your ex has to feel enough pain to want to do something about it. And I know it's difficult because you love this person and you don't want them to hurt, but they've got to hurt in order to want to heal the relationship. At the onset of the breakup, it's not difficult for them at all because they think this is what they want. But as they start to experience days without you, they can start to miss you. And usually they will. Even if they don't want you back yet, they can start to miss you. And if you ease that for them, if you give them an easy breakup by staying there, contacting them, not letting them miss you, then they get to have you and the breakup as well, which is not good for you. And so the no contact rule basically makes you stay out of this other person's life. It makes you respect the breakup and the boundaries that your ex has established by kicking you out of their life. It's the only way to let them see if they actually want the breakup, because if they don't really experience it, how do they know? Before I get to number 3, take a second and get more information on my emergency breakup kit. I'll link to it in the description below. It's the culmination of my 20 years in the relationship coaching service, helping people get their ex back. It's in the description below. Take a look. Number 3 is to demand that you are treated fairly. And that means with the division of possessions or money. And so what I mean by that is that people often ask me, well, I'm still paying the rent even though I've been kicked out of the apartment and we're broken up. Should I keep doing that? I'm not suggesting that you put anybody on the street, but expecting this person to earn their own way is not unreasonable. And if you try to keep being their Santa Claus, then all you're going to do is lower your value and take away the pain of the breakup. A person who respects themselves is going to demand that they're treated fairly, especially when this other person says they don't even want you in their life anymore. So you don't owe them anything. They have destroyed the relationship on purpose. And now you're wondering if you should do them favors. No. If this is a person worthy of you being in a relationship with them anyway, then they would want you to be treated fairly. And that means they wouldn't expect you to continue paying the rent if you're not living there anymore. Or they wouldn't expect you to pay their debt. Things like that. Or if you have possessions over there at their place, then you would expect to get those back. Now, be careful and decide if they're really worth it. Is this a high dollar item or is this a very important item to you? Because if it's not, try to let it go. You don't want to break no contact. But if this is an expensive thing, something that you want back, then you do need to make an effort politely, calmly, without trying to look like you're all cold, but try to get it back. You should say, I'll need to pick this up or something like that. Most of the time, they completely understand and you just go get it, or they put it out on the porch in front of the house for you, and it's not a big dramatic deal. But you should demand that you're treated fairly. And that goes for marriage, separation, and divorce as well. Both people should demand that they are treated fairly and that neither are made into slaves to pay off the other person's debt. Number 4, don't treat them like your girlfriend or your boyfriend anymore. They are not. They have removed themselves from that position. They don't get the benefits of that anymore. It's no longer a privilege that they deserve or are entitled to. And so that's another problem. If you are sending this person gifts and trying to do all these wonderful things for them, you're treating them like your boyfriend or like your girlfriend. And so there's no reason for them to try to change anything because they're getting benefits from that, even though they've told you they don't want it anymore. And it just makes you look bad. It enables them to continue the breakup, to stay away from you, to not worry that you might get away and that there could be a point where they want you back, but they couldn't get you back. You want those things to happen. And if you treat them like they are still your boyfriend or girlfriend, they haven't really lost anything. And you just make yourself look bad, because when someone dumps you and you do favors for them, it's almost like you're a glutton for punishment. And it's like, hurt me again. Here's a reward. Here's an ego stroke for dumping me. I want you to know how attractive you are. It makes no sense. If they break up with you, they no longer get the privileges of being your boyfriend or being your girlfriend. Period. You're still going to be polite to them if you see them somewhere because you live a great life, And so you're not angry because you don't want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you anyway, and you figure things are going to work out good for you and life's too short for anger. That's the strong position to take. But this person no longer gets the benefits of being your significant other. Before I mention the last step, please take a quick second and subscribe to this channel so you can be notified when I have more videos like this that can help you get an ex back and help you build strong, healthy relationships. Number 5 is to trust yourself and the relationship. If you believe in it, if you think that it had value and that you were a good girlfriend or you were a good boyfriend to them, then trust that they are going to figure that out without you. When they don't have you there, they're going to notice that it's gone, that good thing is gone. And they're going to have time to reflect and remember wonderful times that you had together. They're going to remember how they felt when they were with you. And if they do go out with other people or they are around other people and they're kind of gauging things, how they feel, how this other person strikes them, if you were terrific, if you were a considerate person, if you weren't pushing them in areas where they didn't want to go, if you were just a contributor to a great relationship, then these people who are strangers they don't know and they don't have that intimacy with, you have a good chance that they will notice that and that your absence will matter even more. And so you are literally in a position where what you need to do is trust who you were and who you were together with them, that they will see that and that you have nothing left to prove. When the days are difficult, tell yourself, I trust who I was with them, and they'll figure that out. And if they don't, I'll be just fine. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.